Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for Pinkfresh Studio. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am here to give you a sneak peek look at some brand new products from the November 2023 release, including this brand new side slider die set. This creates an easy interactive card, and I'm going to walk you through the assembly a couple of times so that you really know how to do this. And the great thing about this is you can use it vertically or horizontally. Now here's a look at the 3 dies that you need to put the interactive portion together. This rectangle has a little slit that will die cut in it, and then this tabbed piece here, as well as that small rectangle. So once I've cut these all out of cardstock, and I wanted to mention I've cut them out of different colors of cardstock so that you can really see what I'm doing. Once you have them cut out, then you can start assembling. And I'm going to start with this small rectangle, and I'm going to slide it through the slit on this larger rectangle piece. And I'm going to make the bottom of that smaller blue rectangle line up with the lower part of this pink portion. Now I like to take a little low tack tape and hold that in place. That's just going to hold everything in place as I flip this over. Now on the back side of this, you're going to want to add adhesive to this blue rectangle that you can see. So I'm just going to use a little tape runner adhesive. You could also use liquid glue. And then I'm going to grab this tabbed piece and I'm going to center it up with that right side aligned with the right side of the pink cardstock. So you're going to see that I have a margin around the top, the left side, and the bottom. And once I get that where I want it, I am just going to press it into place. And you can see when I flip this over to the front side, my tab is visible. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave that tape in place because now I'm going to show you where you want to put your adhesive. Now for this, I am using some thin foam adhesive strips from scrapbook.com. I know that Leah has some that she likes to use as well. And I'm just going to add adhesive foam to this top portion or that top margin and the bottom margin. And then finally, I'll add a small strip of adhesive to that left-hand margin as well. So I'm going to have foam adhesive on 3 sides of this. That's going to keep my tabbed piece from kind of falling out as we put this on our card front, and it's also going to raise it up a little bit so that that interactive slider portion works really easily. Now that I have all of that in place, I can go ahead and remove the backers on this foam adhesive and place this onto my card front. So I'm going to hold this in place. You can see I have my low tack tape still in place there on the front, and I'm going to center it up on this A2 card, and then I can remove this repositionable tape, and I have my tab here that's exposed. Now this tab is where you're going to adhere anything that you want to move. Now, in most cases, I would make this tab the same color as my background here, but I wanted you to be able to see this very easily. So I went ahead and created that out of a different color. Now I'm going to add adhesive to the front side of that tab, and then I can adhere my floral piece. And by the way, this floral piece is another sneak peek at some brand new products from the November 2023 release. I'm just going to adhere it to that tab, and then you can see I have my working interactive card. Now this is an example of a horizontal card, but if I take this floral piece and I rotate it and place it onto that tab, I can create a vertical card using this same die set. Now I think it would be really fun to take a circle and pile up a bunch of elements and place it on that tab so it moves up and down, or a sentiment, you could have that sliding across your card. This is also the perfect size to hide a little gift card in there as well. So these come together really easily, and I wanted to keep this assembly process very simple for you so that you could see the simple assembly of this card. But now that we've created that, I am going to create a stepped up version of this card. So for the background on the front of the card, which was my pink piece before, I wanted to create a color blocked portion. So I have a piece of this salmon cardstock, and I'm going to cut it at an angle. Now to do this, I have one corner at the 1 inch mark and my other corner at the 2.5 inch mark. So once I know that those are lined up where I want them, I'm going to go ahead and cut my cardstock. Now I'm going to take a second piece of cardstock. This is some sea glass cardstock, and I'm going to place it at the same measurement. So one corner is at the 1-inch mark and the other corner is at the 2.5-inch mark. Now I have two pieces of cardstock that are cut to the same exact angle. And I'm going to adhere these to a lightweight piece of white cardstock that's cut to 4.25 by 5.5 inches. Now keep in mind that my pink piece is a little bit short, but that's okay because the die that I'm going to use to die cut this is actually a little bit smaller than that 4.25 by 5.5 inch measurement. I can go ahead and cheat this pink piece just a little bit. So I went ahead and added adhesive to the top portion of that white cardstock, and now I'm butting this piece of sea glass cardstock against that pink piece, and then I'll take it over to my trimmer and trim it down. Now I can take the front part of my side slider die set. This is the die that creates the rectangle with the slit, and I can die cut that piece of color blocked cardstock that I created. So now I have a fun design for the front of my card. Now I'm going to take that small rectangle piece and die cut it from that same pink cardstock and my tabbed piece and die cut it from some white cardstock. And keep in mind, you could use some pattern paper for this. The sky is really the limit. I'm just keeping this card really simple today because I want you to walk away knowing that you're going to be able to assemble this with ease once you get this in your hands. Now I decided I wanted a little sparkle on my card front as well, so I went ahead and just took a strip of some silver glitter cardstock, trimmed that down and adhered it across that seam, and now I'm going to start the assembly process again. So this time you'll notice that I die cut the smaller rectangle piece using the same color of cardstock that's on the bottom of my card front. And once again, I'm going to slide that through the slit on the front of this card with that smaller tab poking out the bottom and lined up with the bottom of my card front. I've held that in place with a little bit of repositionable tape, and I flipped this over to add some liquid glue onto this tab on the back side of the card front. Then I'm going to line up the tabbed piece, and this time I'm going to allow just a tiny bit of that white tabbed piece to kind of poke out on the card front. It's maybe about a 1/16 of an inch, and I'm just getting that all lined up. I still have that repositionable tape in place on the card front. And once I get that where I want it, I'm going to flip it back over and I am going to add my foam adhesive in the gutter. Now this is a little bit harder to see where I'm adding it, but I'm adding it in the same exact places that I did the first time that we assembled this. The reason it's a little harder to see here is because I used a white backer for my color blocked piece that I created on this card. So once again, I'm just adding those thin foam strips at the top and bottom, and then on the left side, and those thin foam strips will keep that tabbed piece in place as I work on my card. This foam is also going to kind of lift this piece off the front of our card front so that the slider portion will work with ease. So now I have this floral piece, and I have created it using the Nothing But the Best stamp set and coordinating die set that's brand new from Pinkfresh Studio for November 2023. And I'm going to adhere it onto that tab on my card front. So you can see this time I've added just a little bit of foam adhesive, but I'm making sure that the foam adhesive is only on that tab that's sticking out on the front. Now I also have a piece of foam adhesive on the back of my floral image at the top, but I'm leaving the backer on that so that it is not stuck to my card front. The only place where this is adhered is onto that tab on the bottom of this card front. So you can see once I adhere that to the tab, I have my moving floral image for my card here. So now that we have the interactive portion assembled, we're going to go ahead and work on our sentiment. And for this, I'm going to use the brand new Beyond Happy sentiment and coordinating die set. This is also brand new for November 2023 from Pinkfresh Studio. You're getting all kinds of sneak peeks today. And because I know I didn't mention it before, this release is available on Monday, November 13th, so set your calendars. Now for this, I wanted to create a two-toned sentiment. So I have used some masking tape to block off the stamped image on the top line and the bottom line. So I've only inked up the word beautiful because I kind of masked off the stamp. Now that I've stamped that in some Peony ink onto some white cardstock, I am going to mask off just the word beautiful, and I'm going to do kind of the reverse of what I did before. This time I'm inking up that top and bottom line of the sentiment with some detail black ink from Pinkfresh Studio. And I'm using the brand new Pinkfresh Studio Gold Reverse Tweezers. You're gonna love these. If you don't have a pair of reverse tweezers in your stash already, I recommend that you pick these up. These are also coming in the November release. So once I had that stamped, I went ahead and die cut that using the coordinating die set. And I stacked it on top of another plain white die cut to give it a little bit of weight. And then I also die cut that sentiment die from some glitter cardstock, and I trimmed it in half using my scissors. Now I'm going to flip over my sentiment and add some liquid glue along the top of this. And I'm going to offset that upper half on the top of the sentiment, so I have just a little bit of that glitter sticking out of the top. And then I'm going to take and add some liquid glue along the bottom of the sentiment and add that bottom piece where it's kind of sticking out. So I kind of created a faux shadow piece here by just trimming that glitter piece in half and kind of adhering it offset on both the top and bottom. And you can see I'm using my tweezers again to help me get that just right. Now I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue on the left side of this sentiment and place it right on top of my floral cluster so that when my floral cluster moves, this sentiment will also move. You'll just want to make sure that when you add this on there that you don't have any adhesive on the back part that's overlapping the actual card front. You want to keep all of your adhesive contained to that floral cluster. Now, I thought it would be fun to go ahead and stamp a sentiment and a little bit of floral onto this tabbed piece that's on the inside. And yes, this would have been easier to do before it was assembled, but I didn't think of that. So I went ahead and just placed it into my Misty stamping tool with that tab pulled out. And I have this sentiment. It is also from the Beyond Happy sentiment set that's brand new. It says, "Friends like you are everything," and I stamped that using some detail black ink. Then I am going to mask off the tab portion of this little tabbed slider piece. And I am going to take that same Nothing But the Best stamp, which I created that floral cluster on the front with, and I'm just going to line it up kind of right overlapping that tabbed piece. And I'm going to ink it up using some Misty Coast ink from Pinkfresh Studio and stamp that to where it's going to have just a light floral pattern on this piece that slides out. I think this adds so much. It's kind of hard to see in the photos, but in real life, just having that pattern carried over is really beautiful. So now I have all of my stamping done. Everything is assembled, and now all I need to do is remove the backer from these foam adhesive strips and place this onto my A2 size card. Now I tried out a lot of options for the card base, and I went ahead and settled on ivory. I wanted to be able to see that white tab kind of coming out that right side. And if I placed it on a white card base, it wasn't as obvious. And I really wanted the recipient to know that there's something hidden in there. So I'm just lining that up onto my card front and then placing it down. And I'm going to finish this card off with some clear iridescent drops from Pinkfresh Studio. I'm using my dual-tipped embellishment tool to place those on, and I'm using some liquid glue to hold those in place. And that finishes off my card for today, featuring the brand new side slider die from Pinkfresh Studio and the Beyond Happy stamp set, as well as the Nothing But the Best stamp and coordinating die set. All of these products are going to be available on Monday, November 13th, so be sure to mark your calendar, set your alarm, whatever it is you need to do, because you're going to have a great time creating with these products. And I just wanted to show you that you could absolutely adhere a gift card in there and it would work beautifully as well. Now, I really love interactive cards, but I especially love this one because it is so easy to put together. And I hope this video helped you to kind of go out with confidence so that when you receive your side slider die, you'll be able to start creating cards immediately. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. Keep in mind, I can't add those new product links until they're available on November 13th. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on this YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the paper crafting and card making video tutorials shared here. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.